The PS2 is home to some of the most legendary RPGs of all time, continuing Sony's streak of impressive JRPGs started with the PS1. With so many coming out during the console's run, quite a few became lost in the shuffle. For every Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy, there are numerous games only hardcore aficionados played. This list aims to open people's eyes to some more unique RPGs you probably missed. With the passing years, some of these have not aged well, but they are all worth knowing about. A couple of these had even been re-released in recent years. 10. Lagaya II: Dual Saga. Legend of Lagaya is a PS1 cult classic. It only ever received one sequel that continued the unique combo-based battle system. Lagaya II is admittedly not as good as the first game, but it is absolutely a must-play for any RPG fan, especially if you like the PS1 original. The game is also significantly larger and features more mechanics, such as combining recipes to make food items and more than 3 party members. 9. Okage: Shadow King. This PS2 RPG came out in 2001, just a few months before Final Fantasy X. With so much hype for the first PS2 Final Fantasy, it makes sense why this game did not get more love. All the same, Okage: Shadow King was a solid RPG for fans of the genre to have early in the console's life. The gameplay is fairly run-of-the-mill, but the idea of the main character having a sentient shadow was an interesting twist. 8. Xenosaga. Perhaps the most popular RPG on this list, Xenosaga was developed by Monolith Soft, who went on to make Xenoblade Chronicles. This science fiction epic was actually meant to be 6 games. After the first episode's release, Xenosaga was cut down to 3. The first game remains the most beloved, but the whole trilogy tells a unique tale any fan of Xenoblade Chronicles or Xenogears would love. With no re-release, these games are hard to come by. 7. Wild Arms 3. The Wild Arms series started on the original PlayStation, though it never reached the same heights as other popular RPGs of the time. Wild Arms 3 on the PS2 retains much of the franchise's formula, but features more exciting visuals. There is also a remake of the first game available on the console along with numerous other Wild Arms games. Wild Arms 3 is available on the PSN store for PS4 owners, but the remake of the first is not. 6. Steambot Chronicles. This steampunk-inspired game distinguishes itself from other JRPGs by featuring a non-linear story. Your choices influence the narrative, which is somewhat rare for the genre. There are also plenty of mini-games to engage with, most of which revolve around music. The actual battles in Steambot Chronicles are in real time and feature you controlling a mech. Critics weren't too kind towards the gameplay, but the original ideas make it worth playing. 5. Shin Megami Tensei 3: Nocturne. Shin Megami Tensei: Nocturne is the third entry in the cult series. Even for its time, this RPG is especially difficult and hard to access. These games eventually spawned the Persona series, which arguably became more popular than the Shin Megami Tensei franchise. Nocturne was recently re-released for the Switch, PS4, and Windows. It comes with an easier difficulty mode, making it more accessible. 4. Soul Nomad and the World Eaters. Soul Nomad and the World Eaters was developed by Nippon Ichi Software, who also made the Disgaea series. Similar to Disgaea, it is a tactical RPG, featuring the same amount of freedom in character progression. Soul Nomad and the World Eaters differs from Disgaea in that you are able to create your own character. The game is also less of a grind. The main character is extremely powerful, but you are discouraged from using them often. Any tactical RPG fan should check this one out. 3. Hack. The first .hack game came out in 2003, and was followed by 3 more entries on the PS2. These titles are just one part of a bigger multimedia project on the franchise, as there are several anime, books, and even a manga. In the .hack series, combat is real-time and the story revolves around a mysterious fictional MMORPG. 2. Dawn of Mana. The Mana series has been around for a while and was popular on the SNES and PS1. It has had a revival of sorts thanks to the re-releases and compilations in recent years. In between these two eras, there was Dawn of Mana for the PS2. It does away with the more traditional RPG mechanics, feeling more like an action-adventure title, but it still retains familiar aspects of the series. As the North American version was released in 2007, the PS3 was already available. 1. Tales of Legendia. The Tales series has been going on for decades, though it is still mostly a niche franchise. Tales of Legendia, in particular, did not receive great reviews from the West, though Japanese critics were kinder. With a plot setup that reminds one of Waterworld, Tales of Legendia is set in a world covered mostly in water, and the action mostly takes place on a massive boat serving as its own civilization.